Good afternoon. Joining us on the line now is JJ Barrows, an author, artist and stand-up comedian, juggling jobs, passions and Instagram accounts and letting it be okay to let some stuff go, including her Instagram account dedicated to peanut butter. Her new book, Kinda Funny, shares her story of finding her voice after stumbling into a stand-up comedy class because it was cheaper than therapy, and learning how to laugh at herself and see the good in even the worst of circumstances. Welcome to the show, JJ.
Hey, Hannah, thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for joining us. So did you really just stumble into a stand-up comedy class?
Yes, quite literally. I mean, I signed up online, but I thought I was signing up for an improv comedy class, which is a group of people, and they kind of make up stuff on the spot. And I just thought, that's a fun way to get out of my head and get unstuck, which is kind of where I was at in life. I just felt stuck, hence why I wanted therapy originally, but the price tag kind of blocked me from that. So I showed up to the class and they were like, oh no, improv is full. This is actually stand up. And I thought, that's probably the same thing. Like, that's how much I just didn't know about comedy. So I stuck around that first day, and, the teacher had everyone kind of share why they were taking the class. And everyone in there was like, well, I want to be a comedian, or, this is on my bucket list. And I thought, oh no, I don't think I'm supposed to be here. And when I got on stage, I just told the truth. I said, honestly, I just needed therapy, but I couldn't afford it. And the whole class laughed, and the teacher said, that's funny. And I was like, oh, I was being serious.
Brilliant. Well, that's the key, isn't it? If you can be funny without even trying, then that's great.
Yeah. And that was the aha moment for me when I realized, you mean I can just be myself? Like, I don't have to pretend like I have it all together. I can actually voice my insecurities instead of hide them. It was kind of this aha moment, and realizing other people could relate to that, because we all have our own insecurities, whether we talk about them or not. So, yeah.
I love how you talk about yourself being an extroverted introvert. So the kind of person who wants to fit in with everyone, yet also wants to be left alone all the time.
Yes. It's quite a predicament to have to find yourself in, to want to be known and loved, and at the same time totally left alone. So yes, it's made for a lot of great material, especially because my husband is an extroverted extrovert. So there's quite a funny mix that we've had to learn how to balance each other's social preferences, I guess.
And I know you've found love now. You mentioned your husband and you're very happy, which is great. But you do talk a lot in the book about dating and some awkward first dates, particularly.
Yes, very much so. So I didn't meet my husband until I was 35. And so that's, a few different decades of the dating scene. Your teens, your 20s, and your 30s are all very different experiences in the dating world, especially when you start to incorporate technology. And when the dating apps entered this scene, that made it even more awkward, I guess, because, you're having this sort of interaction online before you're even meeting in person. And you can go the stalker route and look them up before. And, you have your own expectations. And it was just such a weird thing to be dating in my 30s, to feel like I'm so old and I'm supposed to have it all together, and at the same time feel so kind of like just vulnerable and young and confused, and still very much just like, I'm still trying to figure out who I am. I don't even know how to find someone else to love me when I'm still trying to figure out how to love me. So yeah, it was definitely an awkward phase for me going through that dating scene. I would say more so in my 30s, maybe than any other decade. I think because the expectation you put on yourself to have it all together in your 30s. Yeah. And it's still young. And that's what I would still tell people who say that now. They're like, I'm in my 30s. I'm supposed to have XYZ figured out. I'm like, no, it's still so young. The older you get, the more you realize how young you are.
Yeah,
I think old is just not that old.
Oh, definitely. Well, I'm similar. I got married at 37. I met my husband when I was 32, I suppose. Well, we started dating when I was 32, so I'm not far behind you.
Yeah.
I can relate to a lot of it. You also talk about wrestling with faith, because you grew up as the daughter of a preacher, which must have been interesting.
Yes, very interesting, especially in the South. in the States. It's just such a different culture. And I think, to be honest, I never felt a lot of pressure from my parents to adhere to that specific faith, but I felt it for sure from the community that there was this expectation that because I was the preacher's daughter, I was supposed to behave a certain way and act a certain way. And I wasn't really supposed to have questions about that faith, because in a sense, it's sort of people kind of think, oh, well, if the pastor can't lead his own kids, how's he going to lead his people? Yeah. Which is just an unrealistic expectation because kids will be kids no matter who their parents are. And so I think there needs to for sure be more grace around that for kids to be able to grow up no matter who their parents are and allow them to just kind of explore life themselves and ask questions and, go through those seasons of confusion. Because, when you grow up being told this is what we believe, you don't learn to question it. And even when you start to do question it, you almost think that it's wrong, when in reality, it's really just you learning to believe it for yourself as opposed to you believing it just because someone told you to. Yeah. And I think that that's way more beautiful to go through that process and realize, oh, this is mine because I've gone through this and I believe it to be true for me, not necessarily because I was just told to, so I did it. Yeah. So, yeah, there was definitely a lot of wrestling for me and a lot of just hidden confusion. And then I think when I finally allowed myself to more openly talk about the stuff that I was confused about or just ask those questions, why, I feel like that's when my personal faith really began to develop. And I grew more into that and into where I am now and into what I believe. But had I not gone through that, it just would have been just, because my parents said, I don't know.
Yeah, you want to feel like you're making your own choices in life and your own decisions as to how you feel about things.
Yes, very much so. And I'm sure that's true for any, background or, belief or job or whatever it is. I think people want to be able to make their own choices because they believe it, in their hearts or their minds or whatever to be true.
Yeah, for sure. And how have you felt in the comedy world, a career that's kind of male dominated, I guess?
Yes, it's definitely male dominated. And I think at first I was just so naive when I entered comedy, kind of like I said earlier, I just didn't know much about comedy at all. I really thought I was just going to take this 6-week course and that was it. I just needed to kind of get out of my head for a bit. And I thought that was, going to help me. And, after the course, we had this little graduation showcase. And at that show, someone asked me to come open for them at a comedy club and then another one and then another one. And everything tumbleweeded so fast that I just was so naive. I didn't even know I was getting into this kind of like cutthroat male dominated industry until I was probably like 2 years in. And I was like, I guess I do this now. I just had no idea that I was even kind of walking that path. But then B, as I started to get bigger and bigger opportunities, I started to hear the voices of other people, which were usually men, who had a lot to say about, oh, I'm only getting this because I'm a girl, or, I haven't earned this or that yet, or I need to struggle more. And all of a sudden I kind of had this insider information that was like, oh, wait, this isn't supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be, work, and you're supposed to bomb and you're supposed to, earn your stripes, as they say. And not that there's not truth to maybe that in any kind of work, but I noticed it specifically from men that it was just so, they wanted to make sure I knew that I was put in my place. They wanted to make sure I knew I hadn't yet deserved it, that if I got an opportunity, that it was probably because I was a female and they just needed more female comics out there. And maybe that's true, maybe being a female opened a door, but even if that is true, I still had to perform well. Yeah. I still had to do good enough for people to want to come back and see me, or, for people to want to watch the special or do whatever it is. And so I think, it's been really hard for me to kind of navigate trying to find the balance between, there's a truth to you put the work in and you make an effort or whatever, but also like you can own your talent, your natural talent. You can own the fact that you're good at what you do, and you don't have to apologize for it, especially being a girl. Even if, and I used to say, it's not just because I'm a girl, it's because I'm funny or kind of funny or whatever it is. But even if, let's say, worst case scenario, someone was like, no, we just wanted a girl. We just needed a female comic. It's like, okay, cool. I still have to prove, though, that I can do it. Mm-hmm. And I still have to do the work to stay in that arena, and that I'm very proud of, and that I won't apologize for.
No, you're there because of your talent. There'll always be people trying to pull people down who are successful and thinking, oh, she shouldn't be there, it should be me, or why has she got that opportunity and I haven't? But at the end of the day, talent keeps you there, so yes. Well done you.
Thank you. I received that.
So how about the Instagram account dedicated to peanut butter? Why did you stop that?
I just had so many accounts going. I think that was in my season of life too, where if I'm really honest, it was one of those harder seasons where I just felt stuck, and I went back to my, early beginnings of like, okay, what are the things that I enjoy? Sometimes they ask you that in therapy, like go back to your earliest memories. What are some of the things that you enjoyed as a kid? And one of the only things I could think of was peanut butter. And I just thought, I've just always loved peanut butter. And so instead of obsessing over, how many followers and likes on, my personal life on social media, I remember just starting this Instagram account that was just going to be about peanut butter. And I didn't care if, people liked it or not. I loved peanut butter. And it became just a fun way to not just document, but sort of actually enjoy social media, instead of it being some kind of like comparison game or, followers or likes or all the things. And it kind of helped me learn how to balance social media and use it kind of for fun, as opposed to just sort of like nowadays. I mean, it's pretty much just an ad campaign, and it's, everything is about growing your platform no matter what. When originally, I feel like it started with us, it meant for us to connect to each other. It meant for us to show each other things we enjoy and things we like. And so I think that was the original intention behind the peanut butter Instagram account. But then, as life gets busy and you pick up jobs and you do all the things, and then you're balancing your own Instagram accounts, I was like, all right, some of these things I can't keep up with. I'm just going to have to let the peanut butter one go. So it was fun for a while.
Yeah, I'm sure. And as a fellow peanut butter lover, I have to ask you, are there any particular, and we can talk about this, it's fine. Are there any particular brands that you really like? Have you kind of searched high and low for really good peanut butter, or would you just like the same one that you liked as a kid?
Yeah, I love trying any kind of brand that's out there. I'm definitely more of like a natural peanut butter kind of girl, and I like crunchy, but there is this brand specifically based in San Diego, California, and it's called Nutso. And it's just all these different kind of like crunchy nut. It's like peanut butter, but then they also sometimes will add in hazelnut, and sometimes they add in flavors like cinnamon or chocolate. And so I like trying all the different flavors and kinds, but I would say I'm definitely like a true, just good old classic crunchy peanut butter.
Yeah.
Pretty much of any kind is my favorite.
Nice. And when I make a protein shake, which is a few times a week, I can't make them without adding a spoonful of peanut butter.
100%. Same. Absolute same.
Has to be the vital ingredient along with the protein and the milk. But yeah,
yes.
This morning I had a banana and I thought I won't put the whole banana in. So I'll eat some of it first. So I was going to the fridge to get the milk, eating the banana. And then I realized I'd eaten the whole banana and I was like, oh, damn it. I meant to put half of it in the protein shake. So my protein shake was just milk, protein powder and peanut butter this morning. It was delicious.
There you go. Well, if you ever eat the whole banana again and you're in need and you have strawberries or raspberries, any kind of berries around, you throw the berries in and it tastes like a peanut butter and jelly smoothie. And it's also really good.
Yes. Oh, I'm trying that tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Yes. You're welcome.
Brilliant. Well, if listeners want to read your book, it's called Kinda Funny, and it definitely is. It's available on our website, TRE.radio. It's by JJ Barrows, who we've been chatting with today. JJ, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Hannah. It was great.